Hello and welcome back. This is Blue Wallis, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own De-Esser in Ableton using the compressor and utility tool. Ableton has a built-in De-Esser compressor already, but this is maybe if you wanted to develop or build upon this, you can look more into what De-Esser should be doing and then taking it and processing it further as well. So I'm going to be demonstrating it on this track, which I just roughly made in about 30 minutes. We'll give it a listen and then you'll hear the De-Esser and we'll look into how to actually make it afterwards.
I feel it in the coast, sometimes more than most. It's something beating within. Do I let it win? Broken down into pieces, this pain never ceases. Running to your defeat, even if it's repeated. I feel it in the coast, sometimes more than most. It's something beating within. Do I let it win? Broken down into pieces, this pain never ceases. Running to your defeat, even if it's repeated. I feel it in the coast, sometimes more than most. It's something beating within. Do I let it win? Broken down into pieces, this pain never ceases. Running to your defeat, even if it's repeated.
Okay, so you probably didn't hear what it was doing, and that's because it should be doing what it's doing. So De-Essers are specifically targeting high consonant sounds, so the k, s type sounds, and so in this track there's a lot of those. I've got especially the word ceases. You would have a lot of harsh S's on there as well. So this is what the De-Esser looks like. We're gonna just do a quick little listen to what it sounds like by itself. I'm gonna vary the parameters so you can hear.
I feel it in the coast.
So if I turn it off,
more than most. It's something
you can hear these S's coming through a lot more now,
Broken.
especially in that first part.
I feel it in the coast, sometimes more than most. It's something
right there. That's probably our highest point with the S's. So if we bring it back in and now listen to everything again.
I feel it in the coast, sometimes
so if I reduce the threshold, this is gonna trigger it more,
broken down into pieces,
which overall reduces a lot of the other levels as well.
Even if it's repeated, I feel it in the coast,
but it's using this high pass to decrease the values that you want. So if we were to lower this, we're actually going to then be looking at and trying to see if there's high values in more of the signal. So everything from 100 hertz above, and then again the threshold's doing the threshold stuff. So we can hear a lot more of it is now compressed. But if we move this back up,
do I let it win? Broken down into pieces.
So you can start hearing it come back as well. Something to bear in mind is that these high frequency sounds that we want to remove can go down to 3000 hertz, where a lot of the maybe harsher sounds can be heard. But typically we're looking at a lot of the 10K plus frequencies. So with all of that now in place, let's go on to making this device. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start with a compressor. And we're going to be looking at both this frequency control, so this sidechain filter, as well as then the threshold. So these were the two values we were controlling. For mine, I've put the ratio up to infinity. I put the look ahead up to 10 milliseconds. This does introduce 10 milliseconds of delay, so feel free to change this to whatever you want, depending on your setup. We're going to change it to peak because we want the peak values, and then I kind of left the attack and release as they are. So we're going to want to put this into a group, and then we're going to want to create a second one, and we're going to want to make this the utility version. So we're going to grab a utility and slide that on here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to phase invert this. So it's going to polar everything out. So if we listen to the track now, we should hear nothing, mostly. So we're getting some bits coming in, so you can kind of see what's going on already here. So if I bring this up to, well, actually, you'll be able to see it. If I bring this down to the 80, we have all of this waveform coming through, but if I slowly increase it, you'll see that some of this higher magnitude stuff decreases until we get our S sounds coming through at like the 3000 hertz range. So we can see this higher magnitude of energy, and so then if we use the threshold to bring that down, we're now going to start hearing only the S sounds. So this is what we want to de-ess. Oh, everything that we're hearing here is what we want to de-ess. Right? So sometimes words get caught up into it, but they're so quiet that it may actually help the overall vocal. But these harsher S's, definitely what we want to target. Now, we have only the harsh S sounds. We want to now remove that from the track. So the utility takes away everything that the compressor has compressed. So we're left with only what's being compressed. So everything that changes. And so now we'll want to create another group where we then create, we'll duplicate this. I'm going to just delete the top one. So we have a dry chain. And then we have our effects chain. So I'll call this FX. And then utility and compressor. I'm also just going to click on here, map this to macro 1, map this to macro 2. And then you have to do that again because we're in 2 groups. So here we go. We've got our 2 macros. Press this button to decrease them. Okay, let's listen to it now and see if we can hear it de-essing these harsh S's.
I feel it in the coast, sometimes more than most. Something beating within, do I let it win? Broken down into pieces, this pain never just ceases. Running to your defeat.
Yep, so it's working as intended. It's quick, easy, and makes life really easy as well. Something to consider is that if we add another utility onto this and phase invert it, we're actually going to be adding the signals now. Because this signal's already technically phase inverted, it means that when we play it with the dry, it's going to be reducing those signals. So that's why we don't need to add another utility here, is because this is already phase inverted to this one. And so all of those frequencies that are just coming through the FX channel are going to be decreased in the dry channel. So that's why we don't need to do anything with that, and we can leave it as dry. And that's our FX, and then you can hide these, you can change the colors of these to whatever you want. You can obviously add more macros, whether you want to change the output gain, the release, the attack, whatever you want. You can always add more macros. I just think that this sidechain compressor EQ frequency is really useful, and then the threshold as well for a bare minimums. So that is how you make a quick de-esser in Ableton using the compressor and the utility tool. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.